Welcome back to another Straight Talk podcast with All Pest Solutions. I'm Wendell Daniel, founder and CEO of All Pest Solutions. And again, joining me today is my son, Jacob Daniel, Chief of Operations. Today we're going to pick up and talk about what's coming to a home or business near you. That would be crickets.
The wave.
Yep.
It always gets interesting. It seems to be starting a little early this year.
You know, it's still to be determined, but it's shaping up, should I say, the climatic, and if there's any theme in this room as we podcast from month to month, climatic events would be it.
Yeah, weather change is the biggest one.
Yeah. But it's shaping up with all the rain that we've had so much of in the summer, in the early heat wave that we're all been experiencing and dealing with here in Texas. As you said, we're seeing the early signs.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably gonna downtick a little bit here first part of August, coming in the first days of school. With it being, I don't know, my truck was reading 102 earlier today. When we've got consecutive extreme heat days, they tend to calm down. When like this past weekend, we had kind of a low, I say low, cooler
90s.
Yeah, mid 90s. That week before that, the phones were exploding with cricket calls. They were all over the place, which in most cases we do cover most cricket infestation or most cricket issues as they come. When we come into later August and especially in December, when this really explodes, then we start having to try to deploy more specific tactics to try to knock it out.
Yeah.
But it's that cooler weekend or cooler days that we get, it'll explode and then it'll kind of calm down. We have consecutive days at 100 degrees or higher, which everything will kind of calm down for the most part.
Yeah.
So,
well, when you start seeing the kind of cricket infestations that we're already seeing this early, it just starts shaping up to be one of those years when you go to the said football game in the fall or the grocery store where there are absolutely trillions of crickets. That's what it's shaping up to be.
Yeah. Well, it kind of follows suit with extreme flies too. I mean, it's that, early summer rain and heat that creates the best breeding grounds, makes the flies worse, makes the crickets worse come fall.
So we thought we'd just, dedicate our podcast segment today on just, trying to, as we do every month, just trying to educate the consumer of what's coming and what to do and what not to do and things that we can help you with and things, more importantly, that you can help yourself with.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll just kind of dive off into that a little bit.
How you wanna play that? We've got I'm kind of quite literally winging this one. So I mean, I guess half of a cricket problem starts with the crickets themselves, and then post treatment comes the wave of dead crickets to follow.
Yeah.
It's just as bad as it was with all the live crickets when the phone rang. Right. And that's a lot of people don't realize that that's a secondary problem that comes with it.
Well, there's no doubt that dealing with a cricket infestation, whether it be an average year or what's shaping up to be a colossal year, almost biblical year maybe, it's going to be better with us than without us as far as service. Our guys are already in that mode because they're seeing them in the field every day. Yeah. And so they're already doing very specific things. I was talking to Presley just earlier, running a commercial stop today and, ran by with his normal application in the crack against the slab of the house where the dirt pulls back. Yeah. When he went by with his normal application, they just exploded and began to climb the wall. And so he had to back up, pin stream, and make an investment in that property and get after them. Yep. So they're already, our guys, people or techs in the field are already in that mindset of trying to help said customers of ours of what's coming.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger piece I want to push to the consumer today, whether you're a customer or not, and we'd love it if you were, but the things that you can do to help yourself, try to help, alleviate or calm that down. I mean, at the end of the day, it's literally trying to empty the ocean with a spoon when it gets bad.
It is. It is. I mean, it when you go to start trying to treat this, I mean, you're going to have weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and floods of dead crickets. You're just trying to knock it down as best you can, but we're going to have to weather the storm. Every year it's just about getting through it.
Yep.
And I'll even go back to 2015 at my previous house, right? When we first moved in over there, you know, we were literally out in the middle of nowhere. The only house on the street had cornfields on both sides. I'll never forget that. Well, I was actually treating out. I mean, it had literally just rained, and I mean, you could see nothing of the soffit lines. It was nothing but crickets out there. It was insane. I brought some product from work, went out there and sprayed it. Just walked around, just sprayed live crickets around the soffit lines. And for a month, all I did, as soon as I got home, go out there with a broom, with a blower, and blow them out of the garage, off the patios, off the driveway, blow them off into the grass. You know, just because it was just turning into dead cricket, just soup out there in the driveway.
Yeah.
And every treatment we did at that time to the rest of the neighborhood was, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go scorched earth here, but you now have homework every day for the next month until this calms down.
Yeah.
You know, but I've found with that too, you know, on the residential side, they're gonna be bad just about everywhere, but you'll see a higher amount out in the country. I guess was more rural areas, new construction, no previous treatments been able to be done. Yep. You know, all raw pasture beforehand. Those are extreme, and then year after year, it's better and better and better. You still have crickets, but it's less.
Yeah. You know, a story that comes to mind for me is, you know, when McLean's RV, who's been a customer for years, opened up out there on I-30 in Rockwall, and there wasn't anything else around them except 200 acres of fields. And we had an epic cricket year, and man, they were, you know, jumping up and down, and I'm out there educating them in what to do. And finally, after a couple of visits, I said, just, you know, hear me out. Just humor me, you know. Turn the lights off on the building, turn the lights on in the parking lot. I understand security is an issue for you, but I cannot stop because crickets come to lighting at the end of the day, okay? Because they're attracted to the moon and the lights of said parking lot and large commercials and really lights in general, lights on your house. Yeah. Lights is what draws them there, okay? Make no mistake about it. And you know, we build beautiful homes, more immaculate than ever before and articulate, and we got lights all in the soffits and we got lights in the flower bed. Yep. But when the crickets come, lights ain't your friend. But I finally convinced, you know, the RV place to turn the lights off on the building, turn the lights on in the parking lot, and then he was taking 55-gallon drum trash cans out and sweeping them up and picking them up under the lights in the parking lot, but they quit going to the building. Yeah. You know? And man, that's how simple you can help that cause on your home.
Now, at the end of the day, like on your home, that's easier to do. You can turn your front porch light off, or you know, sometimes you'll have motion, you can't turn those off, but there are settings on some of those things, and not everybody's going to be willing to go swap out to, you know, sodium-based bulbs, and you know, so that they won't be attracted to them. Those too expensive to go that route.
But touch base on that a little bit further. So there's good and bad lighting.
Go ahead.
You know, you just mentioned sodium. So sodium type lights are definitely less cricket attractive than said mercury vapor. Yeah. You know, it's all a difference in the world.
Which nowadays everything's going LED for the most part. I mean, they're gonna come to that like anything else. Yeah. You know, and they cost less to run, and you know they cost less to buy. It doesn't make any sense to go that way. Then you're back to weathering the storm or not running them. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
I know we just, you know, we run a truck that just does large volume spraying primarily this year. This time of year is chicker jobs and, you know, flea jobs and things like that. We've already dispatched multiple times already where we're going out and just doing a cricket treatment on said yard. We had a customer the other day that was just, he's like, I can't sleep. Like, they're so loud. Like,
they're everywhere. Yeah.
You know, so and he's a customer, and what can we do? What, you know, I mean, and that was additional service. He said, I don't care, just come do it. You know, we dispatched Sam in the truck, dropped 100 gallons, and just nuked the yard and went fixed
Now,
said crickets.
I think that particular customer was in Farmersville.
Correct. He was this to that.
Okay, it's important to consider the geolocation here.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
the further we go that way, the more spread out we get, the worse it gets. But like you were saying earlier, when you start talking about, you know, you can probably recall football games and all those things. I mean, they're just swarming around the lights, right? That's going to be always near some sort of field and open pasture land closest to where those things are going to be. You know, there's a common denominator with all those things.
Yeah.
Now, the other ugly side of lighting and commercial, though, I think it's important to talk about that, is that unlike residential, we can control the lighting. Customers can turn it off, or we can change things out, and we can mitigate those things. But there are certain requirements for commercial buildings. You can't turn off some of these lights.
Correct.
You know, and so what do you do then, right? Yeah. Then you're back to trying to get a treatment in there, trying to mitigate that, trying to keep it open and clean, and they're just walking right in a commercial door, which is never sealed the way that it should be.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's only just so much. I mean, when you have a hopping insect like that, we got to get product on them, and so they hop over a lot of our product.
Yeah.
You know, when we go do like we did in Farmersville, we actually,
or fly.
You know, or you know. We kill specific. It's contact. Where most of that's contact. We're dropping populations down by treating said yard, but you know, there's only so much we can do there to lay down a barrier that they're hopefully going to get in enough to, you know, like you said, treating the soffits on the house. So all the things that we do, it makes a difference.
Well, and at the same time too, like we're dealing with thousands and thousands and thousands of dead carcasses post treatment, right? So any of the treatments that we're going to do is going to come with a residual, right? Depending on the product we decide to use, et cetera. And the residual will stay there and continue to kill, but it won't continue to kill if it's all covered with dead crickets. So we've got to get it. It's no different than than I guess they're the tawny crazy ants. They were the raspberry crazy ants.
Yeah, that we dealt with in Houston for 7 years.
The product would be ineffective if they're just running on top of everything else that's dead, right? You've got to clean it off. You got to get it away from the building. Which is usually not an issue with crickets because it's going to start smelling like a fish market. It's going to be nasty, stinky, right? Yep. So you're trying to mitigate several different things here. Yeah. It's never fun.
We were walking out of the office a while ago, headed up here, and Presley, one of our technicians, asked what the podcast was, and I said crickets. He said, tell the consumer don't overwater.
That's probably not going to be an issue, though, here pretty quick. Yeah. When we start getting skinny on water, they're going to start restricting us anyway.
Yeah. But he was already seeing some explosions on his houses on the customers that overwater.
Yeah, well, and then again, that's not going to stop the storm that's still bellowing. It may make it a little longer, but come September, I bet it's going to be interesting.
Well, we hope we're off on our prediction. It really doesn't benefit us much to have a colossal cricket year. It just because we have, you know, our customers just don't like it, and we try our best to keep them happy.
Yeah.
It's really, really difficult in those hard times. So
I
hope we're wrong, but it's sure shaping up to be one of those years. We'll see.
Yep.
But if we can help you in any way with trying to mitigate this epic cricket problem that it's shaping up to be.
Yeah. And all the current customers, just bear with us.
Absolutely. I assure you it's better with us than without us, but it's going to be one of those years, I'm afraid.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think that covered most of it.
We appreciate you guys joining us for another Straight Talk podcast with All Pest Solutions, and we will see you next month.